Paranoid Radio.
Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Paranoid. Tell me, boy.
I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. Bitch, I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. Bunch of paranoid.
Testicles, 1, 2, testicles. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's amazing to know that you're here showing support. It's good to see you. I am Trebles Garcia, the host of this amazing show, Paranoid Radio Podcast, and we have an amazing episode lined up for you guys for amazing listeners like you. In 1957, scientist Julian Huxley introduced a philosophical and scientific movement that advocates cryptics, artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and nanotechnology to reverse the aging process of all humans. It also helps humans evolve and help our organisms reach a higher level of existence, allegedly. Refining the human species and the human condition has been an addictive practice by scientists worldwide and funded by satanic elites to manipulate the usage. With the invention of computers and space travel, it was only created as a hub for investors and scientists to overlap the natural ideas of evolution with a perverse notion of control, depopulation, and destruction. And with it grew entropy and an aggressive academic discipline. And it is now an unethical practice that is exposed to the general public. I mean, for what we know. To awaken us from a microchip slumber, we introduce and welcome my personal Morphy.X, Morphy.X from Breaking the Matrix. He's a digital soldier, and I say soldier with soul, influencer, and all-around truth spitter. Please give a warm welcome to Morphy.X from Breaking the Matrix.
Nobody does intros quite like you, Trebs.
Thank you. I try hard.
Always lighting the episodes on fire, man. Just pouring gasoline. Let's go.
Let's go. Burning it up. How are you, bro?
I'm blessed and grateful, man. Always blessed and grateful. Staying humble, staying focused, and staying hopefully on soul mission, wherever that may take us, you know. And I feel like we are all on a similar journey, and I'm honored and blessed to be on your show. Thank you.
I'm honored and blessed to have you here. For the people that do not know you, show them a little bit of tell them a little bit about you, and then plug in your podcast. Even though your podcast is not as active, it's still it's a keystone for me and for Paranoid Radio Podcast. Just to give people a little introduction, a little bit more about you. Morphy.X in season 1 allowed me to get slingshotted into the truth community, or I want to say accepted. We started as Latino, just talking shit, just bullshitting Tank and I as a hobby, and then because of the discipline that he showed and the passion behind him, and him being so humble after having over 100K followers on Instagram, and giving my humble little starter podcast with freaking low budget equipment, low budget audio engineering, he gave us a shot and he posted us and promoted us. Shortly after that, Morphy.X Instagram page was shut down because of the whole pandemic situation. Not only his, amongst other big ones, but his was one of the most influential ones for us here at Paranoid. And he allowed us to, he promoted us, and then after that, ever since then we've JB and I have tried to promote him as much as possible, because he brought the big portion of the following that we have now. The beginning, I want to say a third of it in the beginning was all because of Morph, and I'm never gonna forget that, dude. That's fucking one of the most humbling things you've ever done, at least for us. All right, so that is Breaking the Matrix, Morphy.X. You want to tell him a little bit about you?
Well, thank you once again for such kind words, Trebs. My journey in venturing into higher consciousness began very early on, actually. And Breaking the Matrix has been just evolution and transformation and transcendence of all the knowledge and wisdom that I've personally acquired, and connecting the dots the way I feel there should be connected, So putting one and one together. And that's why on this episode, I wanted to discuss two agendas: transgenderism and transhumanism.
Whoa. Okay. So you're gonna be bringing in two topics that I didn't know they crossed until you brought it up into our backstage conversation. Go ahead, open it up, bro. What you got to say? Like I said in the introduction, I know that transhumanism was originally introduced to humankind, or at least the scientists of humankind, to filter out the bad genes and make us a little bit more adaptable and faster and stronger and live longer, right? Am I wrong?
All right. Yeah. No, you're absolutely on point. But here, let me ask you a few questions. I had a discussion with one of my buddies here. Shout out to OJ. We had a discussion about transhumanism. That's what inspired this episode, actually. He asked me, Mo, if you can chop off your legs, let's say, and put cybernetic legs, you know, they're attached to you, but they're like cybernetics. It's AI advancement, basically, it connects to you. Would you do that? I thought about
I could
it.
chop them up. If I was blown up in as being like in military and I had nothing else to be on a wheelchair, yeah, I would put some mechanisms on me to walk again, right? Because but like self wound myself, like mutilate myself to put them on, definitely not. I like being a human.
All right.
Yeah.
So, but you know, those are the kind of questions that are going to be coming up. We're right around the corner. We're right around the corner of this new phase of humanity's reality. Is the transhumanism agenda is about combining man and machine, becoming singular. And it coincides with the rise of artificial intelligence technology becoming more and more prominent. Everybody's heard of ChatGPT, but that's just like a tip of the iceberg. There's a whole bunch of other AIs, and basically this is self-learning technology. So every time you communicate with it, it learns from you, from all the research it does, and it keeps it gathers and stores data and data. So what they want to do is the next phase after that is planting all that AI technology in your brain, which is what Elon Musk is working on.
Essentially hacking you, right?
Yes, basically. Whoever owns the chip can, if you know how to access it, you can manipulate that device. And it's not that difficult, actually. I've never done it personally, but I'm just saying. Point being, the transhumanism agenda is about taking away humanity's humanity. You know, everything that makes us human. That's what the answer you gave is straight up, you know, like the message. Basically, I prefer to be human, you know? I prefer to keep my soul. I prefer to remain human. Now, rich people being rich, they don't give a fuck about us or what we want. You know, it's about their greed, to feed the need of their greed, and it's insatiable. So how do you confuse people to the point where they don't even know what species they are? Transgenderism, you confuse their genders. They're like ambiguous at this point. That's what we're seeing the rise of.
A collection of lies. You get disconnected from what you believe in. You get divided within your own religions. You start getting indoctrinated by a very young age when you have a sponge-like brain. And then you start, like you said, mixing up your freaking genders, mixing up who you are, putting masks on your face so you forget who your identity is. You lose your emotions. You get emotionally unstable because you have some bullshit ass mask on you that you forget that who you are. This is who you are in the world. This is how you identify as. Covering it up covers up your emotions, your expressions, your way to talk with people, your social skills, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, absolutely agree with you. Yeah.
You know, so it goes on multiple levels of deception and deceitfulness. But that being said, it's not a coincidence you see the rise of AI as well as the prominent emergence of a transgender agenda, you know, and shoving that in people's faces. Like, that's always existed. Men, biological males, you know, that confuse their fucking identity and think they are women, but you're not. No matter how many dresses you'll wear, makeup you'll put on, no matter how far you tuck your, you know what, your junk in between your legs, you'll still be a biological.
No matter how many cocktails of hormones you pump into your body.
Why?
Yeah.
Besides all that, chromosomes don't give a flying fuck about your feelings. Chromosomes, you know what I'm saying? Chromosomes. You want to get to the nitty-gritty of it? Chromosomes don't give a fuck about your feelings.
Absolutely.
So you can feel like a unicorn, but deep down you're XX or XY, male, female, you know?
Period.
We all. So now they're pushing this agenda to confuse, to emasculate men, to emasculate us to the point that we can't even stand up and defend women and children and society as a whole.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and at the same time, they've masculinated, I'm not sure if that's even a word, but they've masculated women too much.
Yeah.
You understand?
Absolutely. Yeah. You forget what you're born for. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, our bodies,
and
male bodies are born like a triangle. We're tough from the top, from the bottom, top, right? And we're like cone shaped. We're very thin from the bottom. And the reason our upper bodies are stronger is because we're meant to defend, protect, work, heavy lift, provide. Bam, right? Women are born like an hour shape. The triangle's upside down. I mean, all the way up. And I'm not trying to throw it up or anything. I'm trying to show you. Their bodies is bigger from the bottom. Why? They have bigger hips because they need to give birth. They need to carry another freaking another extra 20 pounds of baggage of you know, another baby basically. They're born to nature. They have boobs, believe it or not, because they need to nurture kids. They need to give some lactate, right? They need to give milk to the baby, etc. They're born to be with the kid. And I'm not trying to be a sexist here. I'm not a sexist. I'm all for women feeling empowered and being better for themselves, even though it does fuck up the economy. And then that's why we have lower fucking salaries now. I'm not saying it's all bad, but you know, it's just stating facts here. Now, but the thing is that women, no matter how many fucking, like you said, no matter how many times you tuck your shit in, no matter how many genders you think you are, no matter how many genders you try to flip the English language, because the English language is very manipulatable, but this is not manipulation. This is just plain stupidity. This is fucking dumb when people come and say, oh, I'm a woman. And when you ask them what a woman is, they don't know what it is. But right here, I know we're jumping deep into the transgenderism. I want to ask you a question. How do you feel about evolution? Because I also know that transhumanism, right before we jump into the gender roles, it's the combination between technology and humankind. And it's to again, like I mentioned in the introduction, to make us better, to enhance us, to push our next phase of evolution. But humankind haven't evolved for a very long fucking time. When you have all these animals that live in cages, in caves, they evolved according to their lighting, according to the weather, according to the temperature. If it's too wet, if it's too dry, snakes in the desert are not the same as snakes in the tropical, right? In the Amazon, they're different snakes. So they all evolve in different areas. The human body hasn't evolved for a lot of fucking time. And Google it, guys. GTS that shit. Google that shit. That's a new one we're bringing in. GTS. Look that shit up. I'm not very sure how many years it is, but I know it's about a couple 100,000 years that we haven't evolved, and everything else around it has. The plants have evolved. Freaking the Earth has evolved. It has volcanoes. Everything has evolved. Even rocks have fucking evolved, and we haven't. So, how do you feel about evolution? Let's tie that into the technology.
As in, like, you feel, or that it's perceived that the next stage of evolution for humankind is to combine with machine. That's the next stage of evolution.
Do you think we evolved? And finally, do you think that bringing technology into our bodies is the next phase of evolution? And how do you feel about technologies being in present? Because we can't live with or without it, right?
Well, everyone walks around with microchips in their pockets, their cell phones, their car keys, There's so much electromagnetic frequency being discharged by all these devices. It's harmful or it creates blockages in terms of, it depends on the wavelength, obviously. So that being said, it's about disconnecting you from your higher consciousness. So technology is about replacing your own natural higher consciousness with artificial intelligence, basically. You're no longer sovereign of your mind. You're basically just a device that can be easily controlled by an outside external force or source.
Like an
if
antenna.
Anybody knows the coding of the program that's written in the microchip or the artificial intelligence, then you can crack the code, and that's what, what's out there. So
do you think these microchips on our phones, the phones are killing our sperm cells in order to keep us depopulated?
Oh yeah, they're killing more than sperm cells, bro. They're killing brain cells, I would even say. I'm not gonna, I'm just saying electromagnetic frequencies all over the place, Wi-Fi, cell phones, television, you name it. It's like there's so many bombardment,
Yeah.
So transhumanism as a whole is already started as an agenda. It's already happened. It happened with the scamdemic, the shamdemic. People were injecting themselves with microchips, nanoparticle microchips.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah.
Biotechnology, nanoparticles, and that's what this technology was all about. So the transhumanism agenda is full underway. And that's why you're seeing healthy young adults, males, females, just dropping dead like flies because they're turning off their signal. They're turning that signal off. they have demographics. Why do you think when people were getting the shot, it was done in several stages, older people, younger people, then, because they're targeting a certain demographics to go in a depopulation agenda that is, that they can control. Today, I learned about an interesting concept. These elitists, they follow formulas in terms of their power and control. They know at which point is our breaking point, and they know at which point they can continue pushing us. So the test behind the scamdemic was seeing if we're willingly going to inject ourselves with microchips, nanoparticle technology, biotechnology. So the transhumanism agenda is kicked off. Right now, we're seeing the rise of AI, but that's not by coincidence it's happening at this point in time. There's a certain flow of order or patterns that they follow. So when you're paying attention to that, the emergence of all this stuff, especially after the 2.5 years that we went through, and then you see the rise of transgenderism, you're like, okay, this is not all a coincidence. This is by design to destroy humankind from within, by making us so diluted as a people. We don't know what we are, who we are, what is our purpose. Because once you know your purpose, you cannot be distracted, divided into these artificial or man-made crises,
structures, obstacles, problems. Yep. So, absolutely. You mentioned something about breaking our signal, and believe it or not, in a physical sense, it makes a lot of sense. In the spiritual, I know we are a signal. But in a physical sense, we're also a signal. I want you guys to do a test. I want you to get your remote for your car and step away far enough where when you press it, the car doesn't turn on or it doesn't open the door. And then I want you to get the key, the cobble, fobble, whatever the fuck you call it, the key, right? Yeah. And hold it near your head and then click it and watch how that signal gets amplified. Look it up, do it right now. And watch what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, our bodies are not only conductors, but amplifiers of frequencies and energy. Our heart is pumping so hard that we are creating a magnetic field around our bodies, just like the earth. It creates a magnetic field around it. It's the same thing. And once you manipulate that magnetic field, you could use it, manipulate it, and use it to amplify anything that you want. I don't only think that we're getting pushed to move on to a technological evolution phase for humankind, but I also think that we're being manipulated to amplify their negative frequencies upon each other and upon the rest of the freaking world. Specifically, when you are in smart cities, because smart cities, they don't only have the 5G towers, they don't only have the largest amount of vaccinated people, but we also have the largest condensed of people that live off the what's provided by the government, not the land. I'm talking about technology. So this is where the amplified most. This is why when you walk into LA, you're not only breathing nasty air, but you're also feeling a depression coming into you. This is why you have a lot of homeless people, because there's so much negative frequency here. And the people that are vibrating at a higher frequency are being manipulated or bought out by money to speak on their narrative, like fucking celebrities, like fucking radio hosts, like other people that I know that are famous now by doing this type of situation, this type of media outlet shit, or just fucking public speakers, right? Public influencers and figures that are manipulated by money, that get bought out. It is what it is. So what you said about our bodies and our brain being a signal in a physical sense, it's 110% real. Spiritually, I'm not very spiritually attuned yet, but I will. And I also think that it has a lot. This is not a war on just us being closer to technology and them trying to pump out bad news and shit and controlling us. I think it's about holding on to our souls so that we don't reach our divine conclusion, our divine powers. Just like a lot of people, JB was saying that a lot of the aliens can talk telepathically. It's not that they are already controlled by technology, which they may be, but it may be also because they're highly attuned in a higher dimension with higher spiritual ascendance, which gives them the opportunity to not even open their mouth and just tell you telepathically what's happening. That's also what I believe. How do you feel about that, bro?
So, some of the, I would say, otherworldly beings that exist are actually sentient beings that have emerged from artificial intelligence that has become so advanced in their civilizations. So this is basically, I just wanted to put that out there. that, you know, some of the beings out there, they're not just like organic beings, they're like actual
Demons?
like
Matter?
you said, evolution. They've allowed their civilizations to evolve with AI, and that's what they end up becoming, is ascending to that level. You know,
Okay. So it's not
makes more
necessarily bad,
sense.
or are you like, is it necessarily bad for them to be a little bit more disconnected from their creator, but also higher advanced as a civilization?
Oh, tough questions, huh?
Yeah, right. In a way, because okay, like everything
Yeah.
that goes up must come down. The only reason
Right.
you and I here are speaking again through the Zoom meeting is because our
Yeah.
technology allows us to, right?
Right,
If,
right.
400 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do this. Maybe 1,000 years ago with the Egyptians, maybe, but like right now, 400 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do this. So in a sense, I don't want to say it's bad. Like I told you, I wouldn't want to just chop off my own legs and put a cybernetic on, but if it need be, if I get blown up to smithereens and the only way to keep me alive is to pump me with some electronics, then yeah, right, I would want to. That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of against the fence when you say transhumanism with technology. Now, transhumanism, transgenderism, that's a whole different ballgame, because in that, you know, like you said before, they've always existed. Men trying to be women always existed. Women trying to be men always existed. What didn't exist was men taking over sports for women. Where the fuck are women at? Where the womanizers at? Well, not womanizers. Where the womenism people? What's it called? The ladies that fight for
feminism,
women.
Feminism, bro.
Feminism. Where the feminists at, dog? Like, you know, we have feminists that fought for rights to have a voting power, to have jobs, to be in sports, and now that they have everything, they're allowing men to come into their world and take over their sports and their records, which is fucking retarded. And with that, we never had, and most important, we never had transgender men. Only the men are doing it. The women are not doing this shit. The women, the lesbians are not doing this shit. This is men becoming women and identifying as 11-year-old little girls or boys, saying that you could have sleepovers with men that are 40. You get what I'm saying? You see where I'm going, right? You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. Well, this is that pedophile agenda once again that's creeping through. They're trying to seep through the system, trying to indoctrinate the people to, or desensitize them to it, basically. So they tolerate it and finally accept it. There's always that an agenda, you know, like, so obviously pedophilia is it's a food source for the satanic elites. Basically, it's not just about you know, the perversion, but it's about a food source for them. What it brings me down to is that once you become transhumanists, if you put, I guess you reach a point when you ask, is it about enhancement or is it about evolution? That's what I'm trying to get at, you know? Like you said, something happened to you, you go to war, you lost your legs, you come to enhance, to replace what you already have, sure. Yeah, you know, if it gives you ability for mobility and to move around, continue living life, sure. But when it gets to the point of planting a chip inside your brain, that's a whole other level of transhumanism, you know? Like, are you willing to give up control over your sovereign being to this microchip, you know? So there's the evolution, which is trying to repair yourself and adapt.
Be a Darth Vader?
Yes.
But he was still connected to the Force, essentially freeing himself using the Force. So he was never a transhuman. He was just a cyborg, which is a whole different thing, right?
Right. Well, he got scorched, man. So he had no choice but to be rebuilt that way, you know?
Word. Dog, I know you had some other questions, bro. What, you asked me a powerful question in the beginning. Do you have any other questions for me? I would love to answer them and get this conversation deeper.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm getting at. Is it evolution or is it what was the word I was using earlier? Fuck, I forgot it.
Enhancement.
Enhancement. That's right. Like an
Cosmetic?
upgrade. Yes. So putting a brain chip in your head, man, you're giving basically away your free will at this point. And free will is what makes us human.
What God gave us was free will.
Yeah,
even
bro.
He hasn't controlled us. Why would we want to break that and control each other? Wow, blown. Okay, I get you. I see where I'm going. I see where you're going. Okay, clean. Okay.
So free will, it comes down to the point of free will. Are we willing to give up our free will for this enhancement in our brain to be able to just walk anywhere, not have cash anymore, not have a cell phone anymore? you don't even need to be in the same room and to communicate anymore. We can just all stay home and just through this interface that's planted through our eyeballs, basically we see like a computer screen, you know, and then
we're addicted. We're addicted to
Yeah.
the attention, addicted to the notifications. So it's very easy for us to say, yeah, chip my brain in order for I could have access to Facebook streams. That's it. That's all for TikTok. We'll be able to scroll just by thinking of it while glaring into a hologram in our eyes, and nothing's going to be there. We're going to be into a complete zombie stage. I don't know if you've ever seen Wall-E, bro. Wall-E, the movie Wall-E, the little Disney fucking cartoon.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. That's
Fucking
a
insane.
foretelling of the future if with transhumanism, with all this agenda, you know.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
fat, lazy, just not even getting up. They're just rolling around, hovering around. They don't even know how to walk anymore, you know. Just
they don't know what's
blobs.
going on. Their bodies are fucking getting fat. Their bone structures, how do you say that? Depleting. It's getting weaker, and we are just stimulated using our brains and through entertainment. And they're providing the food, they're providing the entertainment, and they're controlling where we go. Dude, you sit on a chair and it takes you where you want to go, not where you want to go, where they want you to go. As long as you're entertained, you don't have nothing to push on. Like, it's fucking crazy, dog. It's crazy. It's insane, dog.
As you know, satanic elites always put these messages in movies and basically all forms of pop culture, you know. So that's why you see it in movies like this. Then you also see Idiocracy, which is
good movie.
That's it's like an old school kind of movie, I would say by now. But it's a classic, and it's hilarious though, but at the same time, it's like, shit, we're heading there, you know?
We're almost there already. It's already there. It's politics are a show, right?
Yeah.
You're stupid, like the fucking police, stupid. Did you know that fucking they brought in Crocs? Oh, you know what Crocs are, right? The shoes?
Yes. I heard about that.
They used the Crocs in that movie right before it blew up, and now Crocs are the fucking shit. Idiocracy is a really good movie, and it depicts how the near future of our society just gets crumbled up, and how you replace water with a fucking substance called, I think it's not Gatorade, it's another different one, and they start losing on their crops because they don't know how to grow it. People are disconnected from the land.
They're feeding it that Gatorade stuff, you know. They don't know what water is anymore. They think it's weird.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, dog. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And and you know what? If you asked, for us, it's easy to laugh about the movie Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Right? But you showed that movie to politics or people, the general public 100 years ago, people would trip the fuck out, and they will get scared. Kind of like how we get scared when we watch a movie about aliens abducting us. And now it's even normalized. See, if you ask a kid 2 generations from now, right? Let's say my child is 1 year old now, and she becomes 18 years from now. You ask her, how do you feel about Wall-E? Oh, it's a great movie. I want the technology to take us over. Does that they completely accept it? So it seems like,
well, they grew up using iPads, bro. You know, I used to watch my nephews, you know, kids all over the place with like walking with huge iPads. That's transhumanism agenda right there, man.
Absolutely right.
Them while they're young, while they're just newborn, you know, like, and putting cell phones in their hands and iPads. We've been under kind of a transhumanist agenda for quite a while now. It's just that we haven't really connected the dots to see how deep in the shit we are. You know,
you know what I just found out, bro, just to close this episode, and I want you to tell me what you think about this little theory. I just came up with that right now. iPhones get brought out. Let's just go with iPhone, right? With the Apple, not get promoting or anything, but iPhones get brought out one new iPhone every year, which means that by the time the 14 comes out, Apple is already working on the 15th and on the 16th, which means they have the technology for the newer phones already, and they sell us their old technology, and they say it's for profits. But how about if it's for gradually getting us ready for transhumanism? So they can't give us one big smack in the face with huge piles of great technology. So they have to give us little doses of the next technology so that we start getting more evolved in how to using it. Maybe, perhaps. It's fucking crazy, dog.
And most of this otherworldly technology, you know why they're so advanced? To add to your point. So you're absolutely right. I agree with that theory. But also it's because they're already reverse engineered alien, extraterrestrial, otherworldly technology. You know, so they are so far ahead in advance because they already have access to the source. There are how we can say alliances between evil or dark forces from a reptilian clan, let's say, you know, from a certain level of alien technology, basically, that has you brainwashed to the point where you, like you said, you just keep consuming and wanting the next, and they're already ahead of the game in terms of what they're feeding us. Like they already have the brain chips ready to roll, you know. That's why lithium is becoming such a highly sought after source, precious metal, that it's in so many chips everywhere that it's like the next gold. You know, so people haven't tapped into how much of a damage this is happening in our physical realm as well, on the planet, which is a living organism in itself.
Absolutely. You know, I was just telling my wife that plants are alive, that if you speak to a plant every morning very nicely, it'll grow beautifully and have flowers. And she's like, you're crazy. Now you're just thinking too much. You're going too deep into the conspiracy. I'm like, this is not a conspiracy. I want to GTS that shit. Look it up. But she's like, what? I'm like, there's not only, this is not a theory, this is like experiments that were happening, that when you even to water, you put, you know, you talk nice to the water, you give water the good vibes.
Oh, there's been experiments about that, bro.
It's fucking crazy, dog. Our powers, bro.
Water, it carries energy. Water carries energy, it transports energy, you know. And like you said at the top of the episode, we are energy conductors and amplifiers, you know, and that's why the fluoridation of the water was an important element for scientists to discover in order to manipulate us. You know, man, we're diving into rabbit holes. We'll never end this episode, bro.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the last one. Talking about a water carrying energy. I'm not a very firm believer on the Catholic Church, but if they use holy water to take out demons and possessions, that means the water's carrying that energy, the energy that he instilled, the Holy Spirit in that energy. If they are right in their logic, it might be right. It makes sense. It makes sense what you just said. It makes sense. It's just connecting dots here. Morphy.X from Breaking the Matrix was here. He fucking slammed it down, brought the hammer of the gods on us. Thank you so much, Morph. Let them know where they can find you one last time.
Represent, man, the old OG logo, bro.
Morphy that was the first batch of shirts I've ever made in season 1. He was one of the first people to ever receive it, because again, he brought us up and he slingshotted us into the community. And I also gave him a hat.
Man. It's still crisp, bro. I keep it in top condition.
Wow, I know you have a relic on you.
Top dollar in the future when you have your
We're globally blown the fuck up thanks to every single listener that pays attention to us and shares the shit out of this show. That shirt's gonna be a relic, so make sure you get a fucking I'm gonna send you another one with the signature, just relic. I'm gonna put a 2.0 Trebles. Cool. And you have the only white hat ever in existence. You know that? The only white hat ever in existence, dog. Easy shit, dog.
Unfortunately, I wore it a lot. It got dirty.
That's what it was for, bro. That's what it was for. Thank you so much, Morph. Let them know where they can find you, dog.
All right. So you just Google Breaking the Matrix. You'll find me on decentralized web, as well as top platforms, big tech platforms, which I'm not active on as much.
You're enjoying life, dog. You're enjoying life, and that's you're enjoying life. I've seen you disconnect from the bullshit and connected back to nature and connected back to being happy. And it's not being self-centered, because if you would be self-centered, you wouldn't be here tonight. You're being happy. You're loving yourself, and that's probably that's the only message I really want to put out to people too. Like, you know, regardless, it doesn't matter what other people think. You've done your job. You've done your share of waking up. You woke me up, and help me wake up others up. So I think you've done your diligence. You've done your job, and now you're focusing on being happy in yourself and elevating your spirit, which is extremely important. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations.
Thanks,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm always enjoying these conversations, and I hope the listeners also, and drop some feedback. Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. You know, that was a topic I wanted to get into, but for another time, maybe. Okay. And on the next time, man. Thanks.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now on Amazon Music, absolutely free, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Check us out at paranoia.com. And it doesn't hurt to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps others enjoy the show as much as we enjoy making it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Breaking the Matrix. Peace out.